had said it a bit
Yep,
more.
I did it. I think I did it.
Oh, there we go.
You did it. I heard it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. Well, I will just welcome everyone. I'm the vice chair, and since we don't have a current chair at the moment, which we will be getting shortly, I will serve to welcome everyone and to gather us to get started. Hopefully you all got the welcome, the packet for the meeting in advance. I have to thank Leah for stepping in and doing a heroic job on gathering all of our questions and getting those out and getting all of the materials together, since this isn't something I think that you've done before. So I really appreciate all your support and all the help that you've done to get us rolling. So welcome to the new CPA season. We have a number of new members. We are waiting for two other members who I'm not sure if we heard from Dave Williams or from Jason, if they
I
were planning.
I haven't heard from them.
So we'll just start. I thought it might be good to just take attendance by way of and checking microphones by way of introducing ourselves to each other, since we have new members. So I'll just call this meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. And if that's okay with the group, I'll just call on folks, but just a very quick introduction. For example, my name's Katie Allen Zobel. I've been a member of the CPA. This is my 6th season, and I have been a town resident since 1995. And I worked for a number of years, about a decade at Amherst College, and then at the Community Foundation of Western Massachusetts for about 17 years. So I've been in the philanthropy world for a long time. And right now I run 2 different businesses supporting nonprofits with executive coaching and philanthropic advising. So I have 2 children who are adults and went through the Amherst school systems. So if you don't mind, we'll just go around the horn and introduce yourself. And that's one way of taking attendance as well. So I'll just start with Bob. And then you can name the next person.
Sure. Somehow I knew you'd start with me, Katie. So I've lived in Amherst since 1990. My wife and I actually lived in Amherst for 4 years because we were college sweethearts in Amherst College many a year ago. And we live on East Hadley Road. We have 80 acres of farmland here in the valley, and I have had a career in natural resource private equity, which is going to be ending, I'm very happy to say, in about 2 years, like Katie had, or two months, sorry, and 2 years. God, I'd never make it. And like Katie, we have 2 kids who grew up in the Amherst school system. I did a bunch of coaching and have been on various town committees, and I love Amherst very much. Okay, now on to you, Robin.
Okay. I've been in the Valley since 95, became a permanent Amherst resident in 2000. I am the Historic Commission representative to the CPA committee. I got my historic preservation degree relatively recently, 2022, my master's degree, and I currently work at the Mass Historical Commission, helping to move preservation forward. And I've been on the CPA for I don't know how long, longer than Katie. Because I think I encouraged her to come.
She did, and longer than me, but she took a year off and then came back. So that's a thing you can do.
Yeah, yeah.
How about Angus?
Hi, everyone. I'm Angus McLeod. I am in my 2nd year of living in Amherst, so slightly different from the previous 3. I'm the planning board representative for the CPA, and I am a professor in education studies and American studies at Amherst College. And we have a 15-month-old baby who was born right after we moved to Amherst last year. So it's been an eventful few years, but I'm excited to join you all.
Well,
Great, glad
congrats
to
on
have
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
How about Ellen?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ellen Kiter. I moved to Amherst 10 years ago for my job at the Eric Carle Museum. I have since retired from that and am getting more involved in civic engagement. This is a committee I've wanted to be on for a long time, having spent my professional career in nonprofits, always the one asking for money. So I'm very excited to be on the other side of that. And I first became familiar with the CPA when I worked with Dave on the Amherst Dog Park Task Force. And I, in addition to this committee, I am currently chair of the Amherst Public Shade Tree Committee. And 2 kids. My daughter went through high school here. She's the one who's out in Breckenridge, Colorado, and 18-year-old son who is a freshman at Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
The
Yeah,
Ohio
sorry.
State.
I'm gonna learn that one of these days.
We think alike, Bob. Okay, Jonas.
Yes, hi, Jonas Cox. I've been in Amherst for about 10 years now. I moved out here from Boston, transplanted my family, most of them willing. My wife had to actually do a reverse commute for a couple years, which is pretty brutal. But we both work from home now. I work for Liberty Mutual Insurance as a video producer. I came to the Valley for a job with WGBY. I was fortunate to get out just before they cut all the TV part of that. So I work on the rec. I'm on the rec department. My son, especially, was very much into sports in Amherst. Both my children are out of the house, University of Arizona and Binghamton. So we're recent empty nesters. I think I coached JVB soccer, and that was my one foray into that. That was a little tricky, but just involved in rec, and I really love all the open space in Amherst, and really excited to be on this committee and help decide the new trajectory of Amherst. So
Great.
thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Jonas. Glad you're here. Tim.
Yes. So I am a longtime resident of Amherst. I came in the early 90s. I was a fundraiser at Amherst College for about 15, 16 years. Katie and I actually started working there on the exact same day.
We did. Mhm.
I've been retired now for 15 years. And as I explained earlier, we are moving out to Denver. So this is my last volunteer stint. I've done a lot of volunteer work for the town. I've
Mhm.
been on the finance committee, the town meeting. Yesterday was my swan song as an election warden. So I've been quite involved with town activities. Prior to my coming to Amherst, I was a hospital administrator. So and unlike the Ohio State University, I did that graduate work at the University of Michigan. So just get that dig in. But I have actually 2 sons. One of is in Denver that I'm going to be moving close to, and the other's in the Boston area. And I have 6 grandchildren. The youngest, believe it or not, now is 15. So I go the range of my oldest is almost 28, and so anyway, that's my background.
Thanks, Tim. And Jason, you're up.
Hello, I'm Jason Dorney. This is my second season on CPA. I'm on the Conservation Commission. I'm the Conservation Commission rep for CPA. I've been in Amherst now since 2021. My wife is pursuing a PhD at UMass. We have 2 kids at Fort River. Love the town, and really like this committee here, and looking forward to another year and working with everybody. And yeah, just really have enjoyed the time last year and looking forward to it.
Great, thank you. So it looks like Dave Williams is our only, he's confirmed, correct, as a committee member from Housing Authority. Okay, great.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So we have one absent. So the only other thing to do before electing a chair is and I should have maybe done this sooner, is that we each, for those of you who are new, every member takes a meeting, is the minute taker, is responsible for producing the minutes, which is helped greatly by the recording. So you certainly can take minutes during the time that you're on task, but you can also take them from the recording, and essentially all the attendance and all votes, motions, and amendments need to be recorded, but you don't need to record every aspect of the debate or discussion, just, kind of highlights. So it's not too onerous. Do I have anybody willing to do that tonight? It's probably the easiest one of the year. Robin, she got her hand up.
Easiest one of the year. I'll be late and get in submitting it anyway.
Done like a truly experienced CPAC member.
I'm really great at volunteering and really bad at getting my minutes in, so we'll see if I can improve this year.
All right, well, that's honesty. I appreciate it, but thank you so much for volunteering. Okay, so I guess the next order of business is to elect a chair and a vice chair, and we'll take that separately, starting with the chair. So I welcome any motions for a nomination from the floor. Bob?
I would like to nominate our current vice chair as the chair.
I second.
Okay. Oh. Tim. I thought you were on my side.
I am on your side.
On your side,
Okay, that's true. Good point. Okay. Point well taken. Point well taken. Thank you. Any other nominations? I mean, we can take more than one if someone else was interested and wanted to do that role. I would welcome any other nominations. Okay, is there any discussion about the nomination that is on the motion that's on the floor and seconded?
You just better be good, Katie. That's all I can say.
But you'll be to blame if I'm not, so no worries.
Since you've been on the committee for 6 years, it sounds like you're the perfect candidate.
Oh, wow, Ellen. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is my final year in our 2-3 year blocks. So someone else will take the mantle next year, which is fine. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to serve. So why don't we take a vote? And the way we do votes is by roll call. And so I just ask that, most of you have your microphones, your audio, you're not muted. I'll just say that, which is great. So whenever we call a vote, it is helpful to just unmute yourself for the vote so we can just rapidly go through the roll call. Okay, so all those in favor, we'll just go one by one to nominate me for chair. This is so weird. I'll start with Robin.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
Ellen.
Aye.
Jonas.
Aye.
Agnes.
Aye.
I'm going to do that.
It's okay.
Angus.
It happens.
I need to know that. I have an Uncle Angus, so just I'll get it. Jason.
Aye.
All right. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate your confidence in me.
Thanks, Katie. Oh, you have to accept, right? Or I guess you accepted your nomination.
I
before we
did
voted.
accept,
Somehow.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm officially accepting the nomination and the vote, so thank you. All right, so the next order of business then is to nominate a vice chair. So I'll entertain and motions to nominate someone as a vice chair. And since Tim is not going to be with us in the Amherst as a resident, he's not eligible for vice chairing.
However, I will make a nomination, and that's for
Oh.
Jason.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you. Jason, should I ask if you'd be willing to accept?
Yes, I'd be willing to accept the
Oh,
vice chair
awesome.
position.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, any further discussion? All right, let's take that for a vote. I'll start with me. All those in favor, aye for me. Robin,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Bob,
aye.
Jonas,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
Angus.
Aye.
And Jason, you can vote for yourself.
Aye.
Okay, great.
Thank
The
you.
ayes have it. And I'm assuming you're accepting since you told me you would, so thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right. I think the next order of business was public comment. So I think we have 2 members of the public in attendance. Do we bring them in? I don't know the Zoom.
Katie, we can
Yes.
look and see if anyone raises their hand from the
Okay.
public.
Okay.
Leah can see those, or you can.
So anyone who's in attendance on Zoom that wishes to speak is welcome to do so now. You can raise your hand to indicate your interest in speaking.
I'm not seeing any hands at this time.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, there is one.
Oh,
just
hi,
want-
Meg.
Hi.
Welcome.
Just want to thank
Hi,
you for,
welcome.
hi, thank you for doing this. It's a really wonderful piece of work you all do. Thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
oh, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Katie, before we go on to other business, could I say one thing about staff support, just for the
Yes.
members?
Please do.
So I wanted to echo your thanks to Leah for stepping up. We've had some transitions in the accounting department, and Leah is amazing. I've worked with her for years, as has Sean. And Sean is, we're welcoming back Sean Mangano as our finance director, and we're really pleased to have him back with us. So, you know, our role is to make your jobs easier, to bring you the information, get you the information you need to deliberate, to review, deliberate, and make your recommendations later on this fall. If you have questions, you know, typically they would go through Leah, and she would work with Katie as the chair. And Katie's absence, you know, Jason would run meetings. If Katie isn't able to be here, then Jason could step up and run the meetings. My role is historically, and I'm kind of new to Amherst, but I've been working with this committee since 2004. But my role is kind of a content piece coming from the town staff side of things. I think you have 16 proposals this year, 9 or 10 of them coming from the town. But my role is to work with our staff in the planning department, Department of Public Works, Recreation Department, et cetera, to make sure you have the information you need. If there are technical questions about proposals, I'll bring in staff or get answers to your questions from knowledgeable staff. And then, of course, Sean offers us his guidance and his expertise in finance. And as you all work through the challenging work ahead of you, which is to figure out which proposals you want to recommend. And this year is I think it's the largest dollar request that I'm aware we've ever had. I think it's in the order of $6 million. So we have great expertise here from the staff, and we just look forward to working with you. This is probably my favorite committee, in addition to the Conservation Commission, to work with. But I go to lots of committee meetings, but this is really exciting to see all these proposals. So we're here to help you and to make your jobs easier, and we're happy to be here. So thanks.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I had welcomed Sean back before we were all together. So I'm so glad you're here, Sean, and Dave and Leah are providing very good support along the way here. So I'm so grateful that we have excellent support from the town to run smoothly. We do have a lot of proposals. So for those of you who are new, the sort of the way we've been operating is to have this sort of introductory meeting where we go through what does the process look like, what is the calendar like, what is the available funding looking like, and make a few decisions, and then start having people who've submitted proposals present to the committee starting next week. I don't know, Leah, if I was the only one to receive that schedule today.
You may have been the only one, but I also had it to show people if they wanted.
Okay, great.
You can
Yeah.
Also
So,
email it out.
Yeah, that I'm sure. Just so we haven't had this many proposals in a while, or at least since I've been on. And usually you can do 3, sometimes 4 in a 2-hour window in which you have some questions and some discussion and take care of other business. So with 16, it means that we might, and then once we finish with proposal presentations, we have to have discussion amongst the committee about, and especially this year, about trying to make some difficult decisions. So unless we had extra long meetings, which I'm not in favor of, I don't think they're that effective to go 3 hours. I think there is a chance that we might not be able to finish everything by December 18th, which is sort of the last meeting that we have on the schedule. So I talked to Dave about this and Leah, because I wasn't sure. I thought we kind of had to have it done by the end of December, but it turns out we don't. And so we might have to have another meeting in January if we aren't able to get through all those presentations and have the discussion we need. So I just wanted to sort of forewarn folks about that. Does anybody have any questions so far? We're going to go through the funding piece, sort of what's available. I'm hopeful we have the information from the state, but maybe not yet in terms of the final amounts. But and then we'll go through the meeting schedule, just to clarify what we're planning to do at each of those meetings, and talk about how we try to evaluate these proposals and sort of a process for that. Anything else any questions or anything else people were hoping for? Okay, great. Well, I don't know if Sean or Leah, who's going to walk us through the financial modeling piece, what's available?
I will do that. Leah, can you share that page on the screen for the chart? I apologize if you hear Disney music or young kids laughing in the background.
Sounds like it sounds good to me.
Yeah, it improved the quality.
Maybe one, when you only get it once in a while, but every night it starts to wear on you a little bit.
Been there.
She always seems to wait right until it's my turn. All right. All right, almost there.
Oh my goodness.
Don't worry.
So what you're going to see while Leah's loading this up is how much money we have to start FY26. And then it's really 2 years worth of estimates for what you're going to have for next year. We have to estimate how much we're going to collect this year, both in state aid and in the local surcharge, and then we estimate what you're going to collect next year in state aid and local surcharge. And then we remove any debt associated with projects that you've already approved. And that kind of leaves you with what your balance is next year for new projects. You can, as you'll see when we look at the debt, you are, we'll talk about this at the end after you've looked at all your projects and kind of decided what projects you think you want to do. That's when, to Dave's point, we can kind of give you different options for how you might be able to fund them. Sometimes if the project's really large, you may decide to recommend it be funded from a debt, so a debt issuance, so it's not all coming out at once. Can't see it yet, Lee. I don't know if it's on your
Yeah,
screen.
I don't know.
You have that worksheet, or is it not popping up?
I had it all set up and I don't know why it's not signing me in now.
Give it one more shot. Is there a packet for tonight or no?
It wasn't ready for the packet that went out.
Yeah.
Okay. Give it another shot.
Hey, Katie,
Yes, Tim.
while they're trying to get that up, it might be a good idea to remind the newcomers about the open meeting law requirements and the fact that we can't and shouldn't discuss in these projects outside of the meeting.
Well, thank you, Tim. No, I don't know the open meeting law verbatim, but the one thing I do know is what you just described, which is we shouldn't have any discussions with each other about decisions and about these projects. And when Leah or Sean or Dave sends an email to us, or if I send an email out just with information, don't hit reply all. Be really careful to reply only to me or to Leah, so that there isn't any problem that way. I don't know if there's other points of that, Tim, you wanted to make, or
No, that's exactly right. We shouldn't be discussing things either verbally or through emails, well, what do you think of this project? That kind of thing.
Right.
We can't outside of the meeting, and just as a reminder to the new folks.
And
thank you.
That includes replying all, did somebody say that already? Replying all to emails would be
Yes.
considered a violation.
Question. What about on your so I'm in the rec department. When we have a meeting, what's the flow of information there? Am I allowed to just inform them of status of things, or am I actively seeking their input to inform?
Yeah, no, I think, well, first of all of this is public, so anything that happens in this meeting can be reported back to a commission like that.
Including like a recording or transcript, or obviously the requests and the proposals are out there for anyone to see.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. They're on the website, if anybody hasn't seen that. Yeah. And I think the role of the commissions are to help inform decisions, like for you to be speaking with your committee or commission about these projects in advance and bringing that perspective to this conversation.
Yeah, the prohibition is really against deliberating over anything that the public doesn't have the opportunity to attend the discussion of among a quorum of members. I think that's kind of the general gist of it. So yeah, there's communication back and forth between the commissions is I think expected.
Definitely expected and encouraged. It's just amongst us, and it is, I'm sure you just said quorum, Robin, which is what I thought it was, but we don't do it. We don't talk about it between one of us or two of us at all. But you certainly can at your commission level.
Leah,
Can
what are
you
you
see it
seeing?
now?
No.
You can't see it?
Is it on your screen?
It's on my screen now.
When you click share, make sure you click like share entire window.
I'm sorry.
That's
you can also,
okay.
Leah, if you can email me the file, I could try opening it up on my side.
Anybody have other questions about process? No, this is fine. This happens. I wish I could be helpful, but I don't have the file, so.
Maybe some hold
I have
music.
a question.
Yeah, Ellen.
I think I had read somewhere about possible site visits. Is that something that the committee typically does? And do we do that as a group? Or should we visit certain locations on our own?
The past practice has been to organize it so that the group that's made the proposal doesn't have all different ones of us. And I wouldn't say we do it frequently. It's been dependent on discussion about something, if there's a question or, you know, something is not clear and the majority of the group really wants to visit and to understand it and to see it and to ask questions or something. But I think in my years, we've had like 3. So sort of a reason for doing that. There are, in some of the cases, they're public, you know, it's a playground or it's something that you can certainly swing by on your own and kind of check out and then bring questions to the meeting. It looks like I'm seeing something, so.
Yeah.
Ellen, did that answer your
Are you seeing
question?
numbers?
Yes,
John
thank
got
you.
it.
Okay, great.
All right, is it large enough to see, or I need to make it a little larger?
Be great to be a
There,
tiny bit
that's good.
larger.
How about that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Okay, I can maybe go a little bit more. Let's see. All right. So, sorry for the delay. Thank you, Leah, for getting that over. Sometimes we were experimenting with OneDrive, and it doesn't sound like that experiment went well, but we'll figure that out for next time. All right. So, beginning balance. So, what you have to start FY26, and again, we're going to be you are going to be considering projects for FY27, but what we have to start FY26, which is updated based on what happened in FY25, is about 1.9 million. We're estimating the surcharge for CPA at about 1.4 million or 1,375,000. We're estimating the state match around 300,000, which gives you 3.6 million available for FY26. But you voted or you submitted and the council approved appropriations, which include debt of 2.3 million. Which leaves an estimated year-end balance of 1.3 million. So that's good. That means you're starting next year with about 1.3 million before even collecting any new money. So that rolls down to FY27. And we're using the same estimates for local tax and for the state match. If it comes in higher this year, it'll give you a little bit more money. Again, it just keeps rolling forward. So any money collected from the state match or from the CPA surcharge stays in a special fund. It doesn't go anywhere else. So it'll always be in this fund for future appropriations. So we're estimating available for FY27 appropriations of just a little bit under 3 million. But we have to take out the estimated debt service for FY27, and I'll walk through those projects real quickly, the status of them, which would leave you with about 2.4 million to appropriate for new projects next year. Again, I think Dave said you have about $6 million worth of projects. So obviously you're not going to be able to do all of them most likely. But we can get, again, creative with funding and borrowing and things like that to try to do the ones that you really want to get to. And then debt service. So the first one here, Town of Amherst, Belchertown Road property, that's year 5 of 10, or FY20, this payment FY27 will be year 5 of 10. And these are bands, which means they're not permanently borrowed. They roll over year to year. So we don't know the exact amount of interest. We know how much principal we want to pay down each year. But because they're relatively short-term borrowings, I don't know if we're going to permanently bond them. So these might change a little bit based on interest rates that we get, but we're estimating 71,500 for the Belchertown Road property and 63,750 for Valley CDC, which are again, both are payment 5 of 10 total payments. The next 4 are all, they haven't started yet. Meaning we haven't started paying back on them yet. The track and field, or the 2 track and field ones you see here, are, and again, this is just the estimated payment. So this isn't the total amount that was approved for these projects. This is the estimated debt payment for next year. The 2 track and field ones will start next year. We've basically spent the CPA's allocation this year, which means we'll borrow the money this year to cover those expenses, and the first payment will come due at the end of the borrowing we do this year. So we will definitely have a payment for the region track and field in FY27. Same thing for the Jones Library, and same thing for Fort River. Those projects are well underway, and we're spending money. So those 4, which were, I think, projected at payments starting in FY26, we didn't actually have a payment in FY26 because there wasn't a need to, but they will have a payment in FY27. So that'll be the first of 10 for all 4 of those. So those total up to the 564,250 that we're estimating, and get you to your year-end balance. Questions?
Sean, it's Katie. Could you just roll to the top, and for if you could just give a quick description of why there is a beginning balance before there's a tax assessment.
I think mostly either years where the committee, collections came in higher than what was estimated. Again, because the money stays with CPA, if collections come in higher than what we estimate and what the committee appropriates, that will stay in the fund. And again, this is year over year over year for many years. If the state kind of has a baseline appropriation, and if there's money, they usually do like supplemental appropriations that will bring in a higher state match. So that could lead to it. Or if the committee just doesn't appropriate all the funds. So those are really the 3 main reasons why there's a balance.
Okay, great, thanks. It looks like Jason has his hand raised. You're up.
Thank you. Sean or Dave, could you elaborate on the Belchertown Road property, and then what the $130,000 for Jones Library is?
Dave, do you want to talk about the Belchertown Road property first, just what that project was? Steve Davis here.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
Thank you. Yes, I am here. Yeah, I'm kind of getting my mind back into CPA related stuff too. So cranking it up here. I think Belchertown Road, I'm blanking.
That's the property we purchased in anticipation of the housing, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's
We
an
used that was
affordable
to buy the
housing.
land.
It's an affordable housing purchase. We combined 2 properties, the East Street School and some land off of Belchertown Road, and we put out a request for proposal. So Wayfinders is the company that is creating, I want to say about 72 units of affordable housing on those 2 sites, one on Belchertown Road and one at the former East Street School.
So again, this is repaying that we borrowed to purchase that property when that project was approved, and we're paying back that borrowing over 10 years. So this is the annual debt service for that one. And then I think your other question was on Jones Library.
Jones Library. Jones Library is the request for support for part of the project. I believe this is for special collections.
Yeah, and this was approved several years ago, early on in the project, and we're just getting to the place now where they're starting to spend the money and we can start paying it back.
That was approved in 2020, Jason. So it's because of the timing of the project, and as you know, it's just getting underway.
Okay. Thank you. I thought I got something from last year, but
Yeah, no. Some of these are, I think you have, Sean, like, oh yeah, years 5 of 10, 1 of 10. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
It looks like Jonas has a question. Go for it.
Yeah, so as assessed local tax, those are tax monies from the town that are funneling into.
So that's the surcharge that everyone pays, a 3% surcharge in your tax bill, because the town opted to be part of CPA. And so that those surcharge revenues essentially go into our the CPA fund.
Property tax. It was the first time I've seen the tax actually increase the balance. Like, oh, that's a good tax.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to shave it off. Thanks.
Yep.
Katie, if I could say that
Yes.
just because we're looking at debt service, any of the committee members who want to go by the high school, the track and field project, one of the largest projects we've helped fund in the last 10 years, is nearing completion. The track is done, sod the entire, we have 2 fields there. The field inside the brand new track is all sodded as of this afternoon, and then sod will be placed on the other field next week. So within, 30, 40 days, that project will be done, and we're hoping for good weather here to get it done. And then we'll open it at some point in the spring to athletes and competition.
That is super exciting, Dave. Thanks for that update. And I'm sure there'll be some little sign somewhere that said helped through CPA funds.
We have had it up. I think it came down, and we do have to get that up, and we'll have a ribbon cutting when that's all ready to go in the spring.
Yeah, thank you. That's very exciting. Bob.
Yeah, also very exciting. That's when the Celtics were a competitive basketball team when we allocated that money. So this is going to sound like a silly question for someone who's been involved with this for 3 years, but I am wrapping my head around the debt service still. This is the CPA's component or share of the debt service. It's not the whole debt service. The rest of the debt is being serviced by part of the town budget. This is just our section of it. Is that correct?
So for like I mean, for some of these, it's entirely funded by CPA. So there's no other portion anywhere else. But for like in the example of the Jones Library, that has a component that's funded from the town general fund, and then it has a smaller component here for CPA. Same thing for like the region track and field. That's got a component that's funded from free cash. That's got a component from CPA debt, and then there's a component I think that the region is taking out debt to fund. So some of these projects have multiple funding sources. And some of them are just all here. We'll also share with you the debt schedule. We can just share that with you between now and the next meeting, so you can actually see how far out these payments go. Because whenever you're considering new debt, we want you to be, be cautious, because if you commit too much take on too much debt, then you won't have as much for new projects in those years. So it's important to kind of keep a sense of how much debt you're taking on. And so when you see the debt schedule going out, you kind of can see when some projects come off. So we had a project come off this year, which is nice. I think it was Rolling Green. You had to pay this current year is the final payment. And so now that's completely off your debt schedule. So that'll help you visualize it.
Okay, I got it. But there's a follow-up question, which is, as we go through these outsized requests, what's the phraseology for suggesting that it be bonded or be borrowed to fulfill the obligation for the capital expenditure, for example, on Tim's Comfort House? I mean, how do we articulate that so that we are, I guess, sidestepping not funding, but moving it into debt? I never quite comprehended that.
Yeah. So I think the most important piece is to first evaluate the projects based on their merit and how the committee feels about the projects. Once you guys do your straw poll and you've ranked the projects sort of based on merit, that's when we can, Lee and I can look at them and give you some different options for how you might be able to do them. We might say that there's too many projects. There's no way you're going to have to, consider saying no to some of them. And likely will be the case this year, given the number. But if it's close, we can figure out ways to present, if you borrow for this project and you paid for it over 10 years, here's how you could get under the amount of money you have. So when we get kind of near the final presentation, we can start sharing some of those options with you. But we kind of, unless you ask us to, it's kind of our position that you would first evaluate them based on merit, and then we can help you decide how, or help you visualize how to possibly fund them.
I'm sorry to beat the dead horse, but that means that, for example, if we funded something, or we decided not to fund something fully, but it was you were going to find a way to bond it or essentially leverage it, then what we'd be doing is sequestering funds to pay some share, which would be the CPAC allocation for that project. Is that right?
So your recommendation would say we recommend completing this project from funded by a debt, funded by borrowing. Your recommendation would include that language.
Okay. Okay.
Bob, are you? I think if you think of us as solo and separate in some ways from the town, in terms of the town's doing borrowing, but in a different way. This is just about the CPAs. Does that make sense? What we're talking about?
But the CPA share, with all these very large town requests, and certainly they won't be, I mean, it's hard to predict, but there's going to be some shortfalls here. But are we then in a position where we can say, well, we will allocate a share of CPA funds into the future to help service this debt?
So if you recommend it and the council approves it, they would be approving a debt authorization. And once that debt authorization is approved, it essentially sequesters that money going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I need to get straight. That answers it. Thank you.
Well, Sean said he will send out that schedule, which I do think, Bob, is like the thing that clicks it for me anyway, when I look at that, because it's clear what you have to reserve and what isn't, you can't give away.
All of these projects you see here all had debt authorizations approved at the beginning, which is why we have to set aside the money first before approving new projects.
Got it.
So thank you. Jonas, you're next.
So a lot of these projects are, I guess, multi-phase. How do any of them straddle, year to year CPAC appropriations, or is it like it's all or nothing in that year? A project's fully completed, fully funded, and I imagine you have a list of, I guess that's the question. Like for instance, I think the skateboard park, just taking that for instance, there's a request for money to develop maybe a study, but then the building would happen probably maybe a year from now. How is that accounted for?
So the way the proposals often come, I wouldn't say always, but is in a phase as you just described. So the money is used in the year, in the fiscal year. So we're in this fiscal year, FY26, but it'll be appropriated for next fiscal year to be used next year. So the particular project may go on and they may come back to CPA for the next phase request.
Gotcha.
Or they might not. They might have funding in other ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great. Sure. Angus was there, but now Jason, I think, put his hand down. So Jason, you're next.
Thanks. Is there right now we're at $564,250 in debt service with that 2.4 million available, 6 million worth of requests. Is there an amount of money in debt service, like yearly debt service, that we want to stay below? Are we required
like a target?
Yeah. So like if we can assume, I don't know, we're going to have $2 million each year, I would assume we would want our debt service to be below 50% of what we expect to have each year. So in thinking about this, we don't want to get too much debt each year, right? We really, I would think we would want to stay below like $700,000 in debt service each year. But is there a hard and fast rule or a guidance or something so that as we're evaluating these things, we can think about that?
Who's that?
I would
Sean,
say I think that's for the committee to discuss. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it depends on the project, right? If you have a really great project, you might be willing to go a little higher in order to complete that project. If you're kind of so-so on a project, then it might not be something where you want to commit future, future CPA allocations to. I think I can give you some of the history too, so you can look back over time and see where the debt has been. I'd say we're kind of at a mid level right now where it is. It's not the lowest it's been, but I think it's been higher when we've had some of our big housing projects on there as well. We can share some history, but I think that's really for the committee to evaluate. Obviously, we don't want you to, have 75% of it, for debt service, but I think it can vary based on the project.
So there's no
Jason, I would just-
requirement.
No. Mm-mm.
You just can't do more than we get. You can't. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that how the government
We'll
works?
pump. Yeah, we'll pump the
Jason,
brakes if you get too close.
Yeah, I would say that we don't have that ceiling as a committee at the moment. It could be a point for discussion where we might want to have, as a committee, think about sort of the up to point, but we don't have that at the moment. And we could, if you wanted to have that discussion, we could have it at another meeting. All right, it looks like we have a few more questions here. Tim?
Yes, just to be, so I understand, the debt service, that 564, 250 figure will be the exact same figure next year because the youngest project or the oldest project is in its 5th year, correct?
It'll go down a little bit.
A
So I
little
think
bit, but
it's
not
yeah.
much.
We have it. Right now we have it on level payment, so the interest will get a little bit less each year because we're
Okay.
paying it off levelly. So this is right now based on what you have out there. This would be the highest year, and then it'll get a little bit lower every year.
Okay. The
Until you
point being,
issue.
there's nothing in debt service now that's going to be satisfied this year, so that number's going to go down because the project is going to go offline, right?
No, this is again, you had
Okay.
one of those.
And
come
the
off.
other question I had was, this is for the projects that are beginning, and what are there any projects in the pipeline that we have approved under debt service, but your first year payment isn't going to happen for a year or two, so that's going to come on in future years. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't believe
Can't
there's
recall the
any.
others.
I will double check. I don't believe there's any other outstanding debt authorizations that are not already reflected here. But
Okay.
I can double check that and let the committee know if there's anything else that was approved in the last couple of years.
Yeah, because the way I look at it is the higher the debt, you continue to foreclose your abilities to approve new projects. And unless the debt is going to be offline, and in this case, it's not for the next 5 years or so. So we should be cautious in terms of a project and increasing that because it hurts future years. Let's put it that way. Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Jonas?
I think Robin probably is
Oh,
ahead. Yeah.
Robin, yes. How'd you get ahead of her, Jonas, on my screen? I don't know.
Oh,
I
really?
don't
Oh,
know. I think he was ahead of me. It doesn't really matter.
okay.
I just wanted to point out clarify. I think there's a rule about a minimum allocation, which I think I'm just looking at my personal spreadsheet here. Maybe open space won't meet this year, so I'll just hand that over to Sean. I'm assuming he knows what I'm talking about. What is it, like 10% of the total?
Yeah, so you got to hit 10% for, I think it's community housing and historic preservation. So we got to, I got to look at these projects. You may hit it just with the debt service.
Oh, right, and thought about that.
Yeah, so I think you hit most of them, but I'll double check that as well when we look at the proposals, make sure. And if so, basically you have to 10% in certain categories. And if you don't, for whatever reason, hit it in that year, we actually have to take that money and reserve it and carry it over to the next year. So that would be a portion that you wouldn't be able to spend. But I don't think we're going to have any trouble hitting those targets this year.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. Jonas?
Yeah, so the influx of money is from local taxes and state match.
Yep, those are the two primary revenue sources for CPA.
And local taxes is what, property taxes or?
Yeah, it's a surcharge. So if you look at your tax bill, I believe it's broken out on there. You'll see a surcharge for CPA on your tax bill.
And then from year to year, is that pretty steady? Much fluctuation in what we're getting?
It's a percentage, so it goes up a little bit every year. So it's 3%. So as your property taxes go up a little bit, so will the CPA surcharge.
Right, and I'm not talking. I'm talking less about myself and my tax bill, but more like what we're getting from year to year. Does the state match pretty around 300,000 each year? Is that?
It fluctuates quite a bit. As more communities have opted into CPA, that amount they haven't necessarily appropriated more to be able to meet the match for more communities. It was once a state match, and now it's more like a state very minimally match. I think it's like 15% or 20% or something now. So that number does fluctuate quite a bit from year to year. Again, sometimes there's supplemental appropriations, or often there's supplemental appropriations to try to get the match percentage up. But that does fluctuate quite a bit.
Great.
And we usually have that number sometime in November or December, don't we?
I think we'll have more. We'll have some preliminary numbers like for what we're going to get in FY26. It won't include, again, if there's any end of year or supplementals, but we should have like the baseline.
Great, thank you. Angus.
Yeah, I just had two questions. One is the 10% requirements. Are those 10% of the available appropriations, or is that 10% of the assessed local tax and state match?
I believe it's 10% of new revenues. So
yeah.
I'll double check what those amounts are. We have another spreadsheet where we have them listed. I don't know if we have that ready to go tonight, but I believe it's 10% of new revenues, which would be the because anything theoretically that's in your beginning balance would have already had to be reserved if it didn't meet the match. So it's really of the new revenues you see there.
The second question I have is if it's possible to get the breakdown from just the debt service of how close we are to matching those 10%. That would be helpful information to kind of start off with, at least for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, we can do that.
I think, Sean, I think it's in all three categories, right?
Recreation.
Open space, affordable housing, and historic preservation. Open space. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I think we'll meet it in two categories, but open space, there's, maybe challenging given that there's no debt service there, right? For open space. We can look at that.
Yeah.
I can't recall whether recreation and open space is kind of broken out or not.
Combined, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is always the one with the most questions, is about the finances. So thank you. Any last questions for the team on this? And we'll be getting, it sounds like this sent to us, so you all have a chance to look at it a little more closely, and as well as the debt service info. Okay. Looks like no other questions.
No caller.
Oh. So next item on the agenda is to just look at the meeting schedule and remind everybody go ahead, Leah. Were you going to say something?
I did send it to you, Sean. I don't know if you can open it again since mine isn't allowing me to.
Just to review.
I think it says 27 final meeting.
Okay.
This is what was the final the draft as of last year.
So is this something we have to approve? I mean, I feel like we're in it.
I think we're in it. I didn't know if I was allowed to actually make the changes that had already happened to it. But I mean, I don't know if you need to approve it or not.
What change, are you saying the changes, you mean in terms of?
I didn't
the-
change, like, for instance, tonight's meeting had a presentation originally, and we didn't do presentations today, so I didn't
Yes,
change
right.
that.
Got it.
Yeah. But everything else up to now, I think we pretty much stuck to the deadlines.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah, I
Comment?
do, should we set a couple tentative dates in January just in case?
I think that's a great suggestion. If you just, I don't know if Sean, if you're controlling, but if you just scroll up a little bit, you can see that we've got next week, November 20th, and we have December 4th, 11th, and then 18th says as needed, but it will definitely be needed because when Leah did the scheduling of presentations, it took us through the 11th, I think.
Sean, could you also share that one too? Sorry.
That's
I did
that's
send you the
okay.
presentation schedule too.
And usually in past practice, we usually take more than one meeting to do our ratings, which we'll describe in a little bit, but like to rate how we, where we are with these things and then have discussion about all of them. And that's when there's been 10 or 12, but 16 is going to take a little more time.
I
Are you
also
seeing
did,
it on the screen yet or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see. That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I did send out the email today to all of the applicants, just sort of
Thank
giving
you.
them their time. And I copied the email from the previous year, which is that it's a 20-minute increment, but we are asking for like a max of 5-minute presentation, and then there's 10 to 15 minutes for questions. So
Yeah, and
that's
that's that can be a challenge. Sometimes we stick to it, and sometimes one of the reasons why we asked everyone to read the proposals and provide questions in advance is so that we could try and be as efficient as possible in the meeting. But as you can see, we group them based on their type. So we're starting with historic preservation. This takes 2 meetings, then open space and community housing. And if we scroll down, there'll be on the 11th, recreation. And so maybe we might have time on the 11th to have some discussion, but in my experience, some of those projects will probably have a lot of public comment. So we'll need to, take that into consideration. So I think I would entertain, we meet on Thursdays typically. In a sort of unusual situation over 6 years, we've met on a Wednesday, but we don't change the date because it's hard to get this timing in the Zoom and have everything organized. So at Bob's suggestion, we could look at a couple dates or ask Leah and Sean, Dave to say, okay, the 8th and the 15th look good for the town. And let us know, if we could reserve certain Thursdays. Do we need, Leah, do you think we need to sort of check on town scheduling and then get back to the
I
group?
don't think so. Dave, do you think we need to check?
No,
Okay.
I
As
would
long as it
recommend,
doesn't conflict with people who are also on other committees.
Well, that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin, you have a,
I was going to add, Katie, I think sticking with Thursdays after the first of the year, Thursday is generally not Monday and Wednesday. There are many more public meetings. Thursday typically is CPA at this time of year. I would pick Thursdays in January and kind of book them now.
Yeah.
As Bob suggested. The other thing, just to put in everybody's head, we do need to have a public hearing at some point. It was listed as December 4th. We can work with the committee on when that actually happens. Historically, I think we've had it as part of this meeting, and it hasn't been very long, that public hearing. But we do by law have to have it somewhere in December, I would recommend. So we can look at how the presentations are going and where that's going to slot in. So we'll
Thank you.
work with you
Thanks,
on that.
Dave. Yeah, I mean, seeing as December 4th has 5, maybe we,
It might be on the 11th or it might be on the 18th. The 18th, I think, is your last meeting in the year. So, but I would just select maybe 2 or 3 meeting Thursdays in January after the first of the year. And
okay, great. So, oh, Robin has a question or comment?
Yeah, I just had I hadn't anticipated going into the new year, so I do have a conflict on the 8th. I won't be in, I'll be away.
Okay, I know.
And that's for the end, so I wouldn't want to miss out on any votes. That would be kind of
Yeah.
defeat the purpose.
So, how about the 15th and the 22nd, which don't think we would need the 22nd. I think with the 18th of December and the 15th of January, I think we can get through it. She says hopefully. So how does that look for folks? If it doesn't look good, let me raise your hand. The 15th and the 22nd would be. Tim, I hope you're still in Amherst on the 15th and 22nd.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's Zoom, right? I could Zoom you from, well, that's interesting. Once I
Yeah.
saw this, yeah, we can work that out.
We'll figure that out. Okay. Great, thank you.
You did have a request if you're talking to the applicants in their presentation. I think it would be helpful, or maybe we need to have staff do that. But the applications, like for the War Memorial Pool area, I always get confused in past years as to if this is a phase. What did we approve in previous years, and what was it for? What was the next one? And then what's this going to do for that particular project? So I think that would be very clear in terms of exactly what we're talking about. Same thing with the Jones Library. We approved that, and apparently, if I recall, it was for the right, the historical aspects.
Special collections, yeah.
Thank you, special collections. And this request is for the update of all the woodwork, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a different request, but I'd make sure that
Okay.
the applicants really clearly explain how it fits in terms of the sequence of the money and I guess the next question is there going to be another request next year?
Which they often don't know, and they have
Or
every right to.
sometimes they might expect, like, this is the request for planning money, and then the next year it's going for
Yeah.
building money, et cetera, et cetera. So
And-
just as a request,
they
I
can do
hope to
that.
streamline the process a bit better.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion for us to know what's been previously requested. Thank you. So, we have in the past had these presentations. Oh, it looks like Angus, you have a question or a comment?
So I'm actually at a conference and I have to leave.
Okay.
Can I catch the evaluation and rating tool by watching the recording?
Yeah, well, I don't think we have it to share. So
Okay.
it will be shared at another point, probably via email.
Okay.
But there'll be some discussion, so you'll be able to catch it on the recording.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was nice to meet all of you. I'm looking
Great
forward
to
to this.
meet you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take care.
Thanks so much. So, those of you who've been on on the committee for a couple of years or more could help me out with this, but essentially what we've done in the past is read through the proposals, asked our questions, had the presentation, asked more questions, then have the chance to, on our own, rate each proposal based on merit, on urgency, need, a lot of, sort of some criteria. And the practice has not been for all of us to rate everything on the exact same criteria. But we have used a rating scale of 1 to 5 with 1 being the least. I have to always remember this, but it was the least, sort of
Recommended.
least likely or least recommended, least, and 5 being, really very urgent, really important, has a great impact on lots of people, those kinds of things. And we do that on our own, and then we come to the meeting and share our ratings. And those ratings go, we sort of put them in a grid for every single proposal. We kind of see where we are as a committee, and we might be totally in agreement. Then we don't have to spend a lot of time discussing the merits. But if we're on opposite, if we're all over the place, then that's where we sort of prioritize our discussions. We do discuss every single project because, and especially in this year when there isn't enough money, a project could be totally worthy, very urgent, have great impact, and so could another project. And so then there'll have to be some decisions made sort of between, how to prioritize between those projects. So we were going to show you this, but we don't have, or at least I didn't have, and Leah didn't have access to sort of the rating tool that we've kind of used in the past. So I don't know, Robin or Tim or, anyone, Bob, if you had that or remember that, wanted to speak to it at all, or if that's something that we could have a brief discussion now about what folks sort of think they want to do and how they'd like to do that in terms of rating.
I shockingly have a copy of mine.
Wow.
I know, I can't believe it.
I said, I bet you, didn't I say that, Leah? Bet you
Well,
Robin
have it
or
and put my
has it.
hands
You
over
did.
there. Two
I should have
different
emailed her.
things. Mine was very straight, very simple. I can share my screen if I have the power.
Bob, did you have a question or a comment before, or should we just go to?
No, I was just gonna put forward a strong yes with respect to the power of that tool, and it's especially useful as we really get down to the hard decisions and you hear people make their arguments, and it's wonderful to watch people change their mind.
Yeah.
And the tool allows that to happen. So I think it's very effective.
So I think, thank you, Robin. Yes.
I feel so much more.
So there's two
together than I
pieces.
really am.
There's 2 pieces. This is how Robin personally rates her, she creates her own 1 to 5 scale. So she's going to share her version. And then the other tool is, I think what Bob was referencing was where we all put those ratings, they're captured together. We can all see them at one time, which is really helpful.
I do have
Yeah,
that piece of it, the collection tool.
I figured you did. So we could maybe use that as an illustration. But the first step is to do this, to do all this, sort of review the proposal yourself, then listen to the presentations, ask more questions, and then to, kind of do your own rating, and then bring that to the team. So thank you, Robin. This is a great offering. Do you want to just run us quickly through it?
Yeah, I mean, I am remembering too, I can't remember the name of the other committee member who had created a different matrix based on the CPA, the purpose of CPA, which was also kind of interesting. But so yeah, I just had the clarity of purpose, a clear narrative. Is this a project that could be completed without CPA funds? Eligibility according to CPA rules. One of my big aims is to encourage applicants to seek funds elsewhere, not necessarily as a way of not taking CPA funds, but often there are programs that will match, which is less of a draw on the town. Feasibility of the project, timeline, clear and reasonable. Urgency is usually a big one. And getting clarity around, I mean, we asked that question in the application, and I don't think any applicant is going to suggest that their project isn't urgent, but trying to determine, really the level of urgency. I mean, the urgency I really think of is like, and I have it to this note here, must it be completed this year? Something deleterious happen if it's not. What's the quality of the budget? Are there multiple bids? Is it detailed? How are costs determined? And for the town, I have what town fundings are being applied to this proposal, and why are CPA funds necessary? And then there was a supplanting question. I won't even go into that. That's a whole thing about that. Dave or Sean could talk about that or not.
So Robin, would you go through each of these on your own and sort of rate a 1 to 5 and then come up with a sort of a consolidated score for each proposal?
No, I would use this basically as a way to kind of gather my notes about a
Prompt
project.
you.
And
Okay.
then, use it to kind of, where do I feel like this falls on a 1 to 5 scale? But, sort of the deeper questions to be asked, I would say.
Yeah.
Or
And I
get answered, yeah.
I used some of yours, and the other one that I added to mine, I remember it's sort of kind of the impact, like, is this, going to just to help with sort of prioritizing, like, is it impacting, 100 people or 1,000 people or, the whole town or everybody who comes through the town?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll add that here. Okay.
Thank you. That's, I think,
Sure.
Jonas,
and I can send this to you and you guys can send it out and people can use it if they find it helpful.
great. That's great. Thank you.
It seems like it's, I was expecting more subjective-ish, like value. Those look like pretty objective measures, and maybe this is just to keep the kind of remit of this committee, from getting too subjective, because obviously there can be people who love, we'll take pickleball. People love pickleball, and I'm not a pickleball player, but if I was a pickleball player, is the goal to not have those kinds of personal preferences reflected, or will that start coming out in the conversations? I guess I can obviously take a wait and see approach and see what the tenor of these meetings are. But I was expecting more, I guess, value. Like, is this a good project? Is it like your last criteria, Katie, of how many people are gonna be using this seems like a super important question for all these projects.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Jonas, and I'm happy to open that up to other members of the committee. I would respond to say that I like to try to bring your own lived experience, your own perspective, your interests. I mean, that's why we're all here, as varying members, our diverse experiences help make better decisions, I think. And I also think you have to, be careful of those biases. So being as objective as you can be. And then when we all bring that together, you'll see that there's definitely perspectives that are, people really have views and will state them. And sometimes it does, as someone just said, it does convince you one way or pull you in one way or the other. So I think it's a healthy debate. Does that make sense? I'm giving the and both.
And I didn't mean to be critical of your rating tool, Robin.
Oh, no worries. I'd love to be objective.
I start off objective, and then I assume subjectivity is going to come in.
Yeah. Sean, you had a.
Thanks. Robin, you may be able to speak to this too. I think in the past, sometimes the boards, for the representatives that are from boards, they've weighed in on sort of the proposals that are in that area. So like Robin, you're the historic committee has weighed in on those projects. And I don't know if that's always been the case with all the boards, but can you, for the new members, can you talk more about like what your committee does for those projects?
Yeah, we get the proposals before we come to this meeting, and we review them and have a discussion about them. We have sometimes ranked them, 1 to whatever, however many projects there are. This year, we just talked about high, medium, and low, and then trying to get a sense of what we feel like, what could wait, what has cost savings if you don't wait, because, you push project out or you split it into pieces. But we do try to give some sort of sense of, the question I think I asked my commission was, if you couldn't fund everything, where do you start? And that helps us. For the most part, we're pretty excited about everything that comes before us. And then my role when I come here is to try to articulate those findings and also just answer any questions that, if I can, about that are related to historic preservation. This year's going to be a little bit interesting because I work for the Massachusetts Historical Commission. I need to recuse myself from the 2 Jones Library projects, but my commission, we figured out a way that the commission had a discussion without me. They'll be forwarding that recommendation, and I just won't weigh in on it. So, but yeah,
Thank you. That's helpful. Thanks for asking that, Sean. Thanks, Robin, for sharing. Bob?
I just wanted to second Jonas's comment about sort of subjective opinions. I think that has been one of the more productive elements of our conversations in the past. We want to be objective as much as possible, but I think, as Katie said, it's our learned experiences that really bring meaning to the discussion. So I would encourage everyone to do that as usual.
Thanks, Bob. Yes, no one will be shy. I know that, which is good. That's what makes this interesting. So Leah, I don't know if you have, I don't know if it's worth it, or we could just flash it up on the screen for folks to understand the rating piece, but we don't have to do that if you don't have it available.
Sean, if Sean has the full workbook open again, I think he might be able to show you.
Thank you. So this is our straw poll document. This is our other tool. And so, as you can see, there's all of the projects are listed and which commission is recommending, and the amounts that's being requested. And then there's a chance for each of us to, yes, and we have all of it. This is an amazing tool because it has all the dollars in it, and we can kind of see where we are as we're going along. But you each have, we will each have a chance to share our ratings out loud. They get lined up, as you can see, sort of in the LMNOP QRSTU columns there. And we get an average of the rating. And that helps us, as I said before, just prioritize. So that will come in December, but just sometimes I would recommend, just from my own experience, because there's 16 of them, that you kind of, after you've heard the presentations, to try to do your ratings then. And that way, when it comes to December, you don't have to do all 16. And then, because we won't be asking you for them until December, if that makes sense. Robin, you have.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that if new members wanted to, I presume that this meeting was recorded, so people could, if they really, need to have a fun activity.
You can see what it's all like.
Yeah, literally go and watch us with this particular, the spreadsheet is up, and we make our we record our rankings, and you can see how the chart gets filled in and a little bit of how the discussion goes, if that's helpful.
Thank you. All right, I think that unless anybody had a question, I just wanted people to quickly see it and sort of see how that might work in December. So you can anticipate some of the work to do in between meetings. Anyone have any other questions on that and the process in general? Okay, so the topics the chair did not reasonably anticipate 48 hours before the meeting. I don't have any additional topics. Unless anyone else does, I would. Oh, we do have a couple. Dave, you got in first.
Yeah, real quick, Katie. I just wanted to point out that, Leah sent out the schedule to all the applicants today. I think it was today.
Yep.
Occasionally, one of the applicants, and sometimes they're just a single representative of a nonprofit, or it could be a department head in the town. Occasionally, there is a conflict with what has been put out in that schedule, and they absolutely can't be there. So I just want people to understand there may be some flexibility, and we'll work with them on scheduling that, making sure that, obviously we can't do 7 in one night, but there sometimes is a little mixing and matching there that has to go on. And again, our goal working with you is to try to have all those presentations done in good time, and giving you time in December. As Katie has said, there's 16 this year. Some of them will go very quickly, but some of the bigger requests and more complex requests will take some time. So just putting it out there, that can change a little over the next, 4 or 5 meetings. Thanks.
Thank you for saying that. And that reminded me that we did say we're holding January 15th and 22nd, 2 Thursdays in January, in case we need them. And Dave, is it okay to say that we're going to hold the public hearing on December 18th?
I think we ought to.
You want to
talk
do it
about
earlier?
that. Yeah.
I just thought it would be good to.
Yeah, I don't think we need to. It doesn't need to be posted now. I'd like to
Okay.
talk with Sean and Leah and you a little bit offline about how
Sure.
that has been done in the past, and we can do
Yeah.
that, in the next week or two.
Great. Okay. So we don't need to decide that
Yeah, I
today.
don't think we need to decide on it tonight, and we can have it for you next Thursday. Decide on.
Yeah,
when it-
we can talk. Okay, perfect.
We'll be meeting
Ellen.
a lot.
Yeah. Ellen.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to thank Leah for sending the responses to all of our questions. It was really helpful. It clarified a lot for me. I was just curious. I noticed the Goodwin Church did not respond. Do you anticipate them to submit questions, or is it something we have to ask them for? Or is that your responsibility?
I did send out the same email on the 24th. I sent out 2 follow-up emails to the initial applicant and the team, and I have not heard a response. Dave, I think, made a phone call today or yesterday.
We've reached out to them, and we'll
Okay.
do our very best to get those responses.
Great. Thank you.
They're
Yeah.
presenting, I can't remember off the top of my head, which they're not presenting next week. I think
We
it's,
tried to make it a few just in case they
yeah.
needed
So
time.
we'll give people every opportunity to submit those. There may have been, some of these are very small organizations, and we're very understanding and trying to get that information to you. So we'll do the best we
Sorry, I
can.
forgot I just had the questions on that. I didn't fill in any answers.
Thank you.
That was a good catch, Ellen. I haven't had a chance to read the 19 pages yet, so
Very long.
So thank you for doing that and noticing that. Yes, thank you, Dave, we will be flexible. That's one of our traits. So great. And if anybody does have a question offline, you can contact anybody at the town or me just separately if something comes up that we haven't answered tonight. Leah.
I just had a question because I'm receiving sort of like just comments from the public to the email, and I didn't know if those were going to committee members as well. No. Okay. So I will find a way to share them.
Thank you. Yes, that's what we had in the past.
Okay.
Sometimes combine them or, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That seems to be how it was distributed to us. And again, just a reminder, if Leah sends these messages out, please, 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 please triple check that you're replying just to her. Or write a separate email if you know, so you don't hit reply all. Ellen, go ahead.
Thanks, sorry.
That's
Since
okay.
this is my first time doing this, I have personal and professional relationships with some of the applicants. I shouldn't discuss anything with them about these their applications, correct?
Wow. That's a good question. I mean, I don't think we're prohibited from asking questions.
I just didn't want to do anything with open meeting law, and I just, yeah, I'm just.
It's really about deliberations with the rest of us.
Right.
That's the biggest concern. So I don't think there's a prohibition, but correct me, Dave, if having a conversation.
Ellen, you could maybe, talk to one of the staff about this. We just want to make sure no committee member should have a financial, you said professional, we don't need to go into it tonight, but
Yeah.
there should be no financial or other, relationships that might
Benefit, yeah.
cause anyone to be biased toward one proposal or another. So, and how close friends or colleagues or whatever, can be important. So, you could give one of us a call offline and we can talk to you about that and make sure,
Okay.
we stay.
Yeah, there's no financial incentives. It just, if it came up in conversation, if I should just change the subject or anything, that's all.
So thank you for asking that. Oh, Tim had his hand up, but now doesn't. So Bob.
I was only going to say to a degree, it can't be avoided. Because I'm not to cast aspersions, but there's a pickleball mafia in town, and you cannot go 100 feet without encountering them wanting to accost you about this particular issue. And I'm not sure you can just button your lip and not at least ask questions or not invite, but at least field their inquiries and their statements and their hysteria.
Okay, Bob. Thank you. I think it's, as we are all residents, we're representing. And so it's important that we do have those conversations. The biggest issue is not to have the conversations with each other unless we're here in an open public meeting. And
Right.
so getting information and, sharing that and encouraging folks to be involved is great. Yeah. And we won't cast aspersions, Bob, on anyone who has an interest in certain things. All right.
I love passion.
Yes, yes. Okay. Hearing and seeing no other hands raised or questions, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Thanks, Jason. Do I hear a second?
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think we could do that by voice. Okay, great. All right, thanks everyone. I really am so glad to be working with all of you. This is a great committee doing, this is very fun. It's gonna be hard, but it'll be fun. And it's really a special part of Amherst. We get to do lots of good things for all of our neighbors this way. So Thank you all, and thanks especially to Dave and Leah and Sean for their support. Really appreciate it.
Please let me know if you
Right.
think I'm missing anything. I'm sort of piecing things together, so.
You're doing a great job, really. So thankful.
Very
Yeah,
Definitely.
thank you.
responsive. Very
Yeah.
responsive.
Yeah.
Quick.
Thanks, Jonas. Yeah, she is good.
Great.
Super good.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you all next Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
thanks all.
Hey, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.